Hi guys, I'm Pastor Kerry. Wouldn't it be great if toxic people came with labels across their forehead so they could easily identify who would be a safe person to have a relationship with? But that's just not how life works. And so really what we have to do is we have to develop and refine our skills. I guess we have to sharpen our smarts on how to have effective relationships and how to identify those people who are safe to have relationships with. Now, in a previous broadcast, I talked about 5 traits of toxic people. But today, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about 5 more traits of toxic people. We'll be right back. So toxic people are all around, and sometimes part of the, part of the danger, if you will, of interacting with them is that some of these folks are extremely attractive, and I'm not talking about just physically attractive. I'm talking about they have charming and winning personalities, and they look as if they would be somebody that you would like to pursue a friendship with or a relationship with. But the problem is that once you get to know them a little bit better, you discover that there's just a whole lot of toxicity going on in with this person. And one of the ways you can tell that is by certain character traits or certain behaviors that they that they exhibit in their lives. So let's talk a little bit about 5 more traits of toxic people. You can find our content online on Facebook at beyondbetrayal.org. That's our private Facebook group. And then also you can find us at New Destiny Coaching on YouTube. And that's where you can actually find the previous broadcast that I did on the 5 traits of toxic people. So let's go ahead and we will work our way through this. So if I can get the slides to work, there we go. One is blame shifting. Is that people who are toxic rarely take responsibility for their actions. They don't own their stuff, and often blame others for their problems. Well, if you weren't so, and fill in the blank, I wouldn't do what I did. And so really, their bad behavior is your responsibility. Now, remember, your response is your responsibility, and that's true for others too. In other words, their response is their responsibility. They must practice self-control over their own emotions, words, and actions. So don't be fooled by people who like to blame shift. And it's an easy. That's such a frequent character trait of someone who's toxic. Another frequent character trait of someone who's toxic is jealousy and possessiveness. Now, when a person is overly jealous or possessive, what that does is that leads to controlling behavior. Now, this one can be a little tricky because it may feel like it's because they value you so much that they treat you the way that they do. And so it's that type of attention and that type of quote-unquote protection can seem to be, it can be pretty enticing sometimes. But watch out when perfectly harmless things trigger jealousy or possessiveness. You may be headed for being controlled. I've seen this many times in the couples that I've counseled, people that I've coached, is that that there are so many things that sometimes you just don't know where you stand with them, and there's so many things that are going to trigger them, and it's your responsibility to kind of know where all the landmines are buried in the field, but there's a better way to work through these types of things than jealousy and possessiveness, and there are healthy ways to have conversations about that when you're struggling with jealousy with respect to your partner. Let's look at another one here, and that's isolation. Unsafe people tend to isolate you from your friends and family or other support systems, because isolation is just a great way of cutting you off or distancing you from your support network, and where you can kind of reflect back to others who aren't engaged in the relationship and kind of figure out where you're at, or whether or not that this is a healthy that this is healthy behavior. So by distancing you from your support network, an individual can undermine your self-esteem and self-worth, and also self-confidence. It causes you to really begin to question your own judgment. And additionally, friends and family provide this emotional support that I was talking about, where they can bring in different perspectives to help you to have a little bit more clarity of thought in your relationships. And unsafe people don't like for you to have more clarity of thought. It's just the way it goes. And they like to stay in control, and they like to keep you dependent on them. And so it's just not a good thing, this isolation that they practice in your relationship. Another one is frequent anger. Unsafe people, by the way, with the graphics, I tried to be diplomatic on using alternative men and women, and frequent anger. Anger is not just a male problem. But I decided to have this guy here. He's getting ready to chuck a suitcase. So, people may chuck all sorts of kind of things in relationships. But unsafe people have a short temper and often react with anger over minor issues. Outbursts of anger can instill fear in others, and it destabilizes your environment, leaving you feeling anxious and uncertain. Furthermore, it's a way to manipulate your emotions, for them to manipulate your emotions, and a means to distract you from important issues that need to be addressed. When a person has an explosive temper, or they come back at you with anger, when you are talking about some sort of issue that is important, that essentially kind of sets you back on your heels and throws you off balance. I'm sitting here struggling with my thoughts for a moment, because I was thinking about a Bible passage that it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. So when somebody tells you what you need to hear, that's a good thing. And profuse are the kisses of an enemy. So we need people in our life who will dare to talk to us about things in our life that is not helpful for our own personal growth and well-being, or it's not serving the well-being, the growth and well-being of the relationship. And so these are just some of the five more characteristics of an unsafe person. Additionally, we have here, dishonesty. They lie frequently or hide important information from you. Think about how many times that even in your own life, and I've seen this so much in raising kids, and that how that when they are doing something that is inappropriate or not according to what you would like for them to do, is that they will find all sorts of excuses or deceit, or get you to question whether or not that this is what's really going on. And dishonesty often goes hand in hand with gaslighting. And, I think that we're almost born with all these skills intact. I'm talking about these dysfunctional skills. And so gaslight or dishonesty often goes hand in hand with gaslighting, where the unsafe person denies reality or twists the truth to make their partner question their perceptions. And unsafe people use deceit to avoid responsibility for their actions. Very few of us want to be held responsible for our actions. We want all of the bad things in our lives to be the result of someone else's fault. And we want all of the good things in our lives to be the result of our wise choices and how great we are. But the fact of the matter is that we all have, a side that is winsome and good, and a side that is evil and dark. And unsafe people, they just do not want that to be disclosed, and so they use deceit to hide responsibility for their actions. So we've looked here today at 5 more reasons why or how to detect toxic people and unsafe people. And I would encourage you to seek healthy relationships. We really have invested a lot of time and effort in our Beyond Betrayal ministry. The reason why we call it Beyond Betrayal is because I am convinced that life can be good again when in the aftermath of betrayal. And what we're really reaching out to are anyone who feels cheated by life, others, or God. And certainly that's all of us at one level. But we would really like for you to discover how life can be good again. And one of the ways you can do that is through healthy relationships. And so that's it for today. I would encourage you to check us out. On Facebook, you can go to our Facebook group and our private group and become a part of that at beyondbetrayal.org. We have some of our resources also posted online at beyondbetrayal.org, and I'm going to be updating those as we go along. But in the meantime, I hope that you will become better equipped, that you will sharpen your smarts when it comes to relationships, and better equipped to identify safe and unsafe, toxic and healthy people in your life. That's it for now. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.